What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics. Today we got a top 10 2-meter sessions live performances brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or patron link on the end screen. We could not do it without the patrons. All right, if you're like me, you don't know what 2-meter is. It's a music show from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Since 1987, this program has given well-known and new artists the opportunity to give an insight into their songs in a studio environment and regularly reduce them to an acoustic bass. So I love shows like this. I've done live performances of different performances all over the world, from England to Australia, where artists come into the studio and just make it pure, right? You're not doing that if you can't sing, boys and girls. You're avoiding these environments. So this ought to be a great list. Some fantastic artists on here. I'm ready to get after it. And first up, you see it down below. We got Saltwater from Julian Lennon. It was written by Lennon, Mark Sparrow, and Wesley Sparrow. Originally released on his fourth album, Help Yourself, in 1991. The single was released in August of 1991 by Virgin Records. It peaked at number 6 in the UK and topped the Australian singles chart for 4 weeks in March of 92. It was the 14th highest selling single of 1992 in Australia, where it is certified platinum. It also features, this one won't, I would imagine, but the regular version features a lead guitar solo in the style of George Harrison. Lennon originally wrote a guitar solo for the song at the suggestion of his producer, the great Bob Ezrin. He then contacted Harrison to play the solo instead. Harrison was busy at the time consoling Eric Clapton, whose son had recently died. He recorded a couple of riffs and sent them back to Lennon. Guitar player Steve Hunter then played the actual solo on the song, combining elements of both Lennon's and Harrison's solo. In the liner notes for the Help Yourself album, Harrison's given special thanks. So we probably won't get it on this version. Most of these are going to be video reactions, but this one was not. So I'm just going to, you see it below. This version's actually on Spotify of all things. So we're going to check it out. I'm the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Richard. All right, Julian Lennon, Saltwater. A song really suited to this kind of environment. Julian's got a really good voice, and just the lyrics are fantastic, saying all the things that we've done, but then like there shouldn't be any children, not one child starving in the world. Like, we do all these things that are, quote, magnificent, but we don't take care of the people or the environment in it. So Saltwater, he's crying, makes him cry. I don't know much Julian Lennon. I know 84, 85-ish, he had an album that was, a hit here in America, Velat and Too Late for Goodbyes. And that's really all I think I know of Julian. So this is a fantastic one. Next up, you see it down below. Neil Finn, 4 Seasons in One Day. It's a song, of course, by the rock group Crowded House, released as a single in 1992, co-written by Neil and his brother Tim Finn. Originally intended for their debut Finn Brothers album, however, it was moved onto the Woodface project. 26 in UK, 47 in Australia, 68 in Canada, not released in the US where I live. Neil wrote the song in his flat in Melbourne. The title references a phrase used in Melbourne to refer to the city's changeable weather. Finn explained in an interview, quote, 4 seasons in one day was a common Melbourne phrase because you go from a blazing hot sunny day to raining, then it'd be hailing that night. Tim and I were riding in emotional roller coasters a lot of the time. And there's a lot of angst around that period. So it's a good description of the many moods of us collectively and individually. In 2001, it was voted by members of the APRA as the 84th best New Zealand song of the 20th century. Wow. High praise. Of course, you see the Spotify down here, but we're going to be watching a video performance of this from Neil. All right, 4 Seasons in One Day, Neil Finn. What a performance. I mean, I said this earlier. Like, you are not going to come on this show and do this thing if you can't bring it. He definitely brought their fantastically written song. And I think I forgot to say at the beginning, we're a couple songs through, but check out the Vimeo link below if you want to see these performances, right? It's important. You got to watch them. That's part of it. But I think I forgot to say that. I will write it up there, but if you're just flowing along with me on YouTube and listening to it while you're doing something, there is a full reaction up. Go check it out. All right, we're only 2 songs through, and they've both been great. So we got Not a Surf. Popular, released as the first single from their debut album, High Low, all the way back in 1996. Reached 11 on the U.S. Billboard Modern Rocks charts. It was also a hit in Iceland, topping the country's chart, and in France, where it reached number 10. It's their most successful single. The whole song, except for the chorus, are parts made up from the 1964, so 60 years ago, teen advice book, Penny's Guide to Teenage Charm and Popularity, written by Gloria Winters. That might be an interesting read. The excerpts are spoken in a sarcastic tone by Matthew Koss. Rick Ocasek, of course, leader of the legendary Cars, produced this track. All right. All right, Popular. Look, that song was fantastic. I was riveted now that we know it's from that book of 60 years ago to listen to what he was saying. So I was riveted by the spoken part of it. And then great melody on the chorus. I mean, that was fantastic. Like that could have went on much longer for me. Fascinating, even the way things were looked at in 1964, right? I don't know, girls, if you're listening to this now, or boys, if I would follow that advice right there. Probably not the best advice, but what do I know? Next up, we got Supergrass, their song Moving from their album in 1999. Single went to 9 in UK, becoming their last top 10 hit. In addition, it peaked at 14 in Finland, where it's the band's sole top 20 hit, 81 in the Netherlands. All right, Moving. Obviously, that one was full instrumentation. Gaz not only bringing it on the vocals, but also on that guitar solo there to close us out over the last minute and a half or so. And I mean, I liked it because it mimicked the moving chorus that he was singing. The guitar played it back to us, but really well done. And I mean, through these first 4 songs, I mean, we couldn't see Julian, but 3 different environments in those 3 songs that we've watched. So let's go to number 6. We got Jackson Browne, The Loadout / Stay. It's co-written and performed by Jackson from his classic 1977 album, Running on Empty. It's a tribute to his roadies and fans. It describes the daily practices of a band and his road crew on a concert tour and the emotions evoked throughout such an endeavor. So it was released in 1977. This performance on 2 Meter is from 1994. I love me some Jackson Browne. He's a very underrated guy and a fantastic songwriter. All right, Jackson Browne, The Loadout and Stay, and the screen over Jackson's mic said it all. It said master on there. These were masters in their craft, boys and girls. That was absolutely tremendous. It was fun. You know, it was a more dialed back. I mean, the drummer is playing a box, but then throughout the very start of it, and it's throughout it, the roadie, which is what this is about, the loadout. I mean, I don't think a lot of times people think about that job and how hard it is, breaking everything down, setting it all back up, absolutely perfect. And the bigger the tour, the harder that job is because the more stuff there is. So he's breaking it down. Then he gets to come in there. I think he probably told him he was going to harmonize, is what it sounds like. Because Jackson, when the rodeo was done singing the little part of Stay, he's like, I know Scott said he was going to be there, and then he wasn't. But just a good time, man. It's over 8 minutes. It was fantastic. All right, we're only halfway through with this list, man. And already so much good stuff. Number 5, we got Eels, Susan's House, 3rd single from their 1996 debut album, Beautiful Freak. 9 in the UK, their highest charting song to date in that country. In his autobiography, Mark Oliver Everett states that Susan, quote, wasn't a crazy girl, a rare exception at the time. Her house was in Pasadena, not a walkable distance from where Everett lived at the time. The song focuses on the problems in the area he walks through as he goes over to visit her. By the time of recording the song, he and Susan had already been apart a few years. She's also a subject of the song Beautiful Freak, the title track from that album. The song samples the piano introduction from the 1974 Gladys Knight and the Pips track, Love Finds Its Own Way, written by Jim Weatherly, who along with Jim Jacobson is credited as co-writers on this song. So kind of had to be because of that. I've never heard of Eels that I know of. Heck, they might have showed up on another top 10, but I've never done a full reaction of anything of theirs for sure. Susan's House, what a phenomenal performance. It's very riveting, right? Singing into the phone and the little cymbals and playing the drum and just, yeah, man, like the whole thing was fascinating. The story was, I mean, obviously in a bad neighborhood going through stuff. I wonder what Susan thought of when this song came out, but a really unique song. I mean, I don't oftentimes hear unique songs, even with all the music that I've listened to, that I would call unique. It would obviously help being able to visualize it and see him actually talk on the phone and all that. But yeah, that was a fun one. It was definitely a fun one. Next up, we got a band that I know who they are, but I don't know that I know anything. Oh, there's Presidents of the USA Lump. Single reached number 1 on the US Billboard Modern Rock charts, 11 in Australia, 21 in Canada, 10 in Scotland, 15 in the UK. Gained even more exposure when it was parodied by Weird Al Yankovic as Gump, a song about Forrest Gump. Chris Ballou, who wrote it, said, quote, I was cleaning my room listening to a mini cassette tape of random ideas. We used to have those. I don't know if those even exist anymore. A little mini cassette, hold it, talk into it. Probably no more with the phones, right? We don't need it. A mini cassette tape of random ideas, and I heard my voice on there saying, is this a lump out of my head? I think so. And I couldn't remember making it up. It was there on the tape. I demoed it as a slow drum machine driven thing and then realized it needed to sound more like the Buzzcocks than Wall of Voodoo. A Conrad Uno, who was our producer on the album version, came up with the idea of muting the guitars at the beginning of the track. It was a genius move that showcased the vocal and drew people into the song. Always and Forever, my favorite song to hear and play. I may have known that song just from the MTV days of having MTV on in the background when, it played music, boys and girls. This was 30 years ago. Very catchy. I don't even know what it means. Well, she's in my head. Great performance. Super fun. All right, now we're going to come to the heavyweight part of our festivities, the top three. Coldplay Shiver appeared on the band's debut album Parachutes, which I have a full album reaction up to. It releases the album's lead single in the UK and second single in the US after Yellow. As a single reached 35 in the UK, 26 on the US alternative airplay, didn't even make the Hot 100, 57 in Australia, 45 in Scotland. The song's lyrics are a reference to an unrequited love of lyricist Chris Martin. There's media speculation regarding which specific woman is the focus of the lyrics. Martin has denied it's about Australian singer-songwriter Natalie Imbruglia, who had a lot of hits in the 90s. The song contains influences attributed to American singer-songwriter, the great Jeff Buckley. We have a Grace reaction up, full album review that Trey and I did, who was an early influence on Coldplay. Martin wrote the song while listening to music of Buckley and has claimed it is their, quote, most blatant rip-off song. All right, Shiver. Man, Chris and the boys look so young. Obviously, they are so young. It was striking to see them the way. I would say the most popular band of this century. I don't know. There can't be many that are more popular as far as just like success. Here in 2024, they're the top grossing concert tour of the summer. Taylor Swift took the summer off. If you're watching this years later, you'll still probably understand the magnitude of that. But good song. You definitely hear Buckley in it. Now that I know it's there, I definitely hear it in there. I'm sure I mentioned in the reaction, but I did the reaction a while back. This song's fine for me. It wasn't all over the place here in the U.S. Yellow was all over the place. The video, everything. But I don't know this song aside from the one time I heard it on the album reaction. But a song I definitely know at number 2. Radiohead, High and Dry. It's recorded as a demo during the sessions of their first album, Pablo Honey, an album that a lot of people hate. I still like it, but this album, The Bends, is absolutely fantastic. That's off of Remastered for inclusion on the Bends. It's credited as an influence on the band Travis and, we just heard him, Coldplay. Radiohead singer Tom York said the lyrics were about, quote, some loony girl I was going out with but became mixed up with some ideas about success and failure. 31 in Canada, 17 in the UK, 78 in the US. In a 2007 interview, so skip way ahead because this was actually, it was released in 95 and this performance is from 95. But in a 2007 interview with Pitchfork, York stated he did not like the song, saying, quote, it's not bad, it's very bad. He also stated he'd been pressured into including the song on the Bends. Well, sometimes, as Mr. John Lennon didn't know, Tom York doesn't know either. Some of his songs that he thinks are horrible are fantastic. At least that's this man's opinion. High and Dry, I don't want to be redundant, but just like Coldplay right before this, the guys are so young, obviously. It's almost 30 years ago at the time that I'm recording this. They've come a long way. You see them, it's always the opposite hand right above me there. Not the Bends album, but OK Computer. But love me some Radiohead, although 2 of their albums I just don't get. Most of the rest of you do get them, but Kid A and Amnesiac. But I just love Radiohead. I thought that was a great performance, and seeing them this young is always fun. So even though Tom doesn't like it, it's a good song. All right, we're to Richard's number 1 2-meter sessions performance. You see it below. Mama Told Me Not to Come. Stereophonics, and the great Tom Jones. It's a song by American singer-songwriter Randy Newman, written for Eric Burdon's first solo album in 1966, Three Dog Night's 1970 cover, topped the U.S. pop singles chart. Tom Jones and Stereophonics covered the song for Jones's 34th album, Reload, in 1999. This performance is from 2000. It was released as a single, reached 4 in the UK, 7 in Iceland, 11 in Ireland, 45 in New Zealand. Stereophonics lead singer Kelly Jones, no relation, of course, shared the lead vocals with Tom Jones. All right, Mama Told Me Not to Come. Tom Jones still bringing it in 2000. That song was fantastic. That was a powerhouse. That was a powerhouse of instrumentation and vocals, man. A great choice for number 1. That song is so much fun. So much fun. I loved it. Great choice for number 1. All right, now we're going to come to my favorites. They were all good tracks. Very well done. Kudos to Richard. He always brings me great stuff. Him and another patron or two are probably the guys that have added the most to my music knowledge over the years. Richard's been with us for years. of just different things. Like I never heard of 2 meter, and to put all these things together and come up with the top 10 from all these different time periods had to take some time. So kudos to him. Honorable mentions: Neil Finn, 4 seasons in 1 day, and Eels, Susan's House. I mean, very unique. Faves, probably going to guess these: Jackson Browne, The Loadout, which I thought was going to be the favorite and wasn't going to be beat. Radiohead, High and Dry, and probably the best one on here. He probably got it right with number 1, Stereophonics, and Tom Jones, Mama Told Me Not to Come. Fantastic stuff. So thank you to Rich for bringing this. Well, let me know what you think down below. What are your favorites down below? And if you know this show, let me know what else I should check out. What other performances? Until next time, guys, I will see you.